Hello, YouTubers. Troz here, back with more Factorio. Uh, I've started building the all-item train and the production area for it. Uh, wow, this is turning out to use a lot more room than I had anticipated, but, you know, it just means clearing more land and building more things. So let's head over to that area. It's actually not that far from my main base. You can actually maybe see a little bit on the minimap. And more as we now approach. So this is a little parking lane right here. And then I have lanes for unloading items. And the start of the bus, which will be huge. So basically, I'm having one unloading area per material. And when I say material, this is going to be, well, mostly plates and things I was importing into my 1K Science facility, such as green circuits, red circuits, blue circuits. Processed liquids will be importing the lubricant and, actually importing plastic and acid as needed. The one minor exception is iron plates. This will be the iron plate station for the start of the belt. But I also have another station over here that's also going to be for iron plates. And the reason for that is, while I didn't directly make them for the 1K Science, I'm going to be having multiple belts of gears. If you think about it long enough, it makes sense. Each gear is made from two plates, so rather than send two plates down these belts and then turn them into one gear, it makes a lot more sense to make the two plates here. Take the two plates, make a gear, and send that gear down belts. So we're gonna have some belts of gears here, and then a separate set of belts for iron, copper, steel, etc., etc., etc. Of the main materials, I'm having 16 lanes. I have 8 trains, 2 locomotives, 8 cargo cars, of which I unload from each side. So that's basically 1,000 will go to each side every time a train comes in per car. And the chests, there are chests here. They'll hold plenty between trains. Theoretically, there should be a train waiting in the nice large stacker here. And that's how this is going to work. Ooh. Yeah, a little warning, the belts occasionally make, I don't know if this is coming through in the video, but it's a weird flickering just because of the way the graphics are. When I zoom in, it's not visible, but I think it's like the size of something is changing and causing a flickering effect, at least here. That may not come through on the video. Yeah, so this lane will take the trains back. This lane here is going to be for the all-item train. I'm actually not sure how long it'll be. Like I said, I think there's something like 202 or 203 items in the game. Depends on how you're counting. I'm including all the liquids. And I've actually started the train. It's over here. I'm going to have 20 locomotives, which would be roughly the same speed as a 110 train. I may need a little more locomotives, though. I have a few cars here, these are going to be for, well, I actually have it here, wood, coal, stone, iron, copper, and uranium. Basically anything you can mine, although technically you're not mining wood, but it's a natural raw ingredient. Then I have, it's hard to indicate what these are going to be, but these will be all the liquids, and I'm having them here because if there's a turn before the liquid cars, it makes them hard to fill, as I had learned with my death attack train. I originally also had a liquid car over here, but because it was after the curve, it was finicky getting a pump to hook up with it, because while these are an integer length, the distance along the curve isn't an integer length, so things don't line up after the curves. So yeah, these will be 2 8 trains. I have a few here ready to go, because I think we're going to start the production. And here's the 2 8 stations. And if we zoom out here, we got 2 for iron, but that's only because this will be going to gears. Iron, copper, steel, green circuits, red circuits, plastic, batteries, brick. The batteries and brick, I am actually only exporting 8 belts out of. And I can change that if needed. It will be a bit difficult, but but we can work something out if we need more batteries or bricks. But batteries really go into bots and 1 or 2 other things, and bricks really only go into furnaces. So we won't need as much of those as other things. Then we have this whole another stacker just for 1-4 trains, and these will be, well, we currently are exporting blue circuits on 1-4 trains, then raw stone, raw iron. Raw stone will be for furnaces, and possibly that's it. I'm not sure what else they go into. The iron ore is really just for concrete. Wood is used in a few things like the small electric poles and shotguns and a few things like that. Then we have acid or lubricant. And then the rest of this stuff, and even like the stone and iron ore, I mean, we're going to be importing enough to fill, one of the cars over here. But the rest of these are basically just for the cars, except for possibly uranium, because we'll be loading, uranium ammo, uranium fuel cells. But like copper ore, I think I put in an extra station. At least I'm hoping I'm not forgetting anything. And then this will be oil, heavy, light, gas. And then I have another, liquid. The liquid's also 1-4 trains. Basically, we'll be taking these. I'll add some way to export them from my big oil base over here. And yeah, again, most of these will mainly just be filling here. Although I'll probably be using the light oil to make solid fuel and its related derivatives. Yeah, as you can see, there have been some leaks. Let's turn that off. That I've been filling in, but so far only enough so that we can get these belts in place. Ooh, I thought I fixed you. So, let's. Yeah, it goes up to about this rail. I thought we'd only, wouldn't need nearly that much space. But we'll have the buses only going to be about maybe going out to here. There's a few of these that aren't belted, but I'm like probably not even going to need 8 lanes from them. Even 4 might be overkill. So it would just, I don't think it's going to go too far past here. And we have here, so we have plenty of room for production along this side. And along this side, as long as we fill in these lakes, which shouldn't be too bad. Which brings us to actually working on things. So one of the first things I want to do is get the basics here. And then, well, have you seen how many belts? These are 16 by 16 balancers that I recreated from a picture I saw. I'm sure there are other designs, even design books, but I hadn't had anything like this large before, so it seems to work. But yeah, belts. We're going to need lots of belts, and as I said, I'd like to produce as much as possible here, which includes belts. So far, let's turn this back on. I have the logistics networks of this area and my original base connected, but I have a little power switch here that I can turn off to disconnect them. So what I'd like to do is get just the minimum production I need running to get the rest of production running. So what that means is producing belts here, producing all the types of belts, producing inserters, producing assembling machines, producing modules, and producing beacons. Did I say bots? Producing bots, if I didn't say them. And then disconnecting this. Right now, I don't know how many bots are in here, but most of these, okay, there's 3 construction bots, and there's 26. So there's some construction bots, but I don't think there's any logistics bots because there's no logistics chests around here. Now the bot, there was a lot, 350 there. So what I'd like to do, alright, I should correct that. There's a few logistics chests, but it's currently just for the fuel for the trains. And most of these trains will be going to places picking up where they can get fueled. Look at that, I missed some. Okay, so what my hope is that once I do have the minimum production up, I can tell most of the bots to go build something like way over here, and hopefully they all leave, and then I can come over here, flip this. That would turn off all these and all these. You don't know how many bots were flying over here, and then running out of power and turning around. So with that all turned off, we would disconnect the logistics network, the bot network, logistics and construction, and then I would have to rely on everything, anything I imported. So that's the plan. I spent some time, quite a bit of time actually, in a creative testing world, making up some of the builds I would need, and some of these were based off of. What are you guys doing? Oh, you're the 2 electric poles that I put down. Some of these are builds that I've based off of some blueprints on Factorio prints. Some of them are ones I came up purely on my own, now that I've played with beaconed setups quite a bit. So I have these big blueprints, and it appears that a few of them I accidentally, like I said, I was playing it basically a creative save, and I accidentally grabbed some of the creative items, or the producers, just to make full belts, accidentally when I made the blueprints. The thing I want right now is you. Uh, oh wow, that just fits. It's fine. This is a beaconed gear factory that takes, well, it takes 15 lines of iron belts and makes 10 lines of gears. I'm not sure if the iron belts go in at full speed. I'm assuming they're a little. Actually, I don't know. They may go in at full speed because this has productivity modules that make up the difference in iron needed. So it's not 2-to-1 as would normally be. Uh, it has a nice, well, it has the same 16 balancer on the input, and I'm gonna put a balancer on the output as well if I really knew how. um, this looks good. We gotta, I'll leave a little bit of room down here, and those row ports at the top will be moved at some point. So let's put this down. And we need to hook this up. Luckily, I've made this little blueprint book of belt pieces. These are 8 wide, which is the widest you can do, and still underground blue belts underneath them, like, well, like so there. Although that's like here. Basically, I've been using this to mark out this whole main bus so far. So let's get this hooked up. Gonna turn there, and if I am doing this correctly, there, I think. And of course, I didn't do it correctly. So we just pick it up and our left turn. Might as well put this straight on there first. And you know what? It actually helps if that's the right way round. So with belts this big, you can see why. Kind of need local production, because yeah, here goes all the bots off to wherever. Alright, so I'm gonna skip 2 spaces just in case we need to underground anything. Get rid of that. And stick in a turn. And there. This is an 8-way balancer. And then you got a shorter piece. And theoretically, that's done. Alright. Not quite sure what I'm going to do here, but that's 10 lanes. And this isn't right. But I mean, that's not really mixing, but if there's any gaps in either of these two belts, this will at least pull something from that belt. It's not truly balanced, though. I now just have to figure out, well, one, how to get more belts, but then run these down and plug them in here, and then run something down here. Did I ever? It doesn't look like it. I eventually want to get a whole nice section with roboports and radars evenly spread, and be able to place that down as a blueprint, so that I can extend the main bus somehow. Not really somehow, but you know, nicely. I'm doing, if I hadn't mentioned it, 4 in the middle of a similar type of belt, and then 6 on the outside. That allows, you know, roboports and other things that actually should be moved up 1, so that, or 2, so that it doesn't get in the way of things. Well, actually 1 would give us space on either side. But yeah, that will allow undergrounding and maneuvering around things. I mean, theoretically it can be done with just a gap of 2, but that's inconvenient at times, let's say. Now, where did I stick that that blueprint I just made? I think you're it. Yes. Let's add that to you. I think that's right. And that was 4, not. We can fix that. Alright. I'm glad the ghosts don't overlay existing ghosts. Yeah, so this is going to take a while, which is why belts is one of the first things I want to get production of running. So while we're waiting for the bots to bring the belts and place them, and the production, because well, it doesn't say we're missing items, but it's still taking the bots quite a while. Let's get these trains running. So right now I just have the bare minimum of what I think I'll need. I have 2 trains for iron because I have 2 separate stations. I want them to occupy both. We've got a train for green circuits and a train for red circuits. Further down, I also have a lubricant train and something else. Well, okay, no, you were just 2 lubricant trains. Not sure why I did 2, but well, that's what I got. They're all fueled up, so let's turn them on. There's a conveniently missing piece of track. So let's correct that. The other thing that's missing, though, is if I come down here real quick. Okay, we're at 1.3 gigawatts. Before I was like under a gigawatt, at about 900,000. That's because I have most of the external production turned off. So we're going to need to turn that back on, and that is relatively simple. Putting this iron axe in my trash will turn on production eventually. Because currently my production is based off of... Oh, I can hit L. How do you have -3 in a logistics network? It's based off how many iron axes are in the logistics network. And once it is above 0, that turns on the electric power switches for the external part of my factory. I have 2 more over here. I'm going to put them all in my trash, and as soon as a logistics bot comes, which I'm trying to stay in the logistics bot range to pick up my trash, that will activate. You guys still over here? Yeah, okay. You're waiting on a robot. Alright, here comes some logistics bots with belts for me. No, they weren't logistics bots. They were construction bots. I'm waiting for some logistics bots. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm assuming... How did you get iron? That train is stuck there. Ah, this is off. But these inserters still have power. Interesting. Okay, I'm fine with that. What I'm not fine is they're both stopping here. I eventually want more than 2 iron trains. I was thinking at least 6 iron trains. Well, that wasn't good. 3 minutes lost. I should watch where I'm 20, 295, 40, 50, 60. Yeah, it's not the first time I've been hit by one of my own trains. Let's turn you all on. I've I should put more shields on. Let's turn that off. And build one. Maybe that was the cause of the -3, because I was requesting them and it's 3 items per bot. Alright, note to self, stay off the tracks. And yeah, with uranium fuel, those trains quite powerful. Let's stay over here. I am in logistics range. Okay, yeah, that is where they're going. I am, for all the 2-8 trains, I'm going to try to use the 2-color scheme with the second locomotive white to indicate it's the for the all items area. Yeah, and the second locomotive is right behind it. I was briefly considering removing this track again to have both trains stack up here, but then I realized as soon as I did that, the first train, or the train wouldn't even leave the station, so it wouldn't really stack up. And, well, this unloading station is a lot quicker than that loading station, so we'll just have to wait. Let's remove the excess here and doubly check that I'm off rails. Well, I have a few blue belts at the moment. Is this... I don't want to leave the logistics area. Oh, and they have taken the picks, so hopefully, momentarily, this will be turned on as soon as the picks are placed in a chest. Actually, I could probably could have don't want to put a storage chest down. Alright, everything is turned on. And we can tell because we're now 4.3 gigawatts. In fact, our accumulator is dropping a bit, but yeah, this probably went to hardly ticking over to, well, I won't say full on because it actually isn't on. We're still using the steam up from here, but that should be enough steam to run it for the approximately 150 seconds it has left, and then it will kick on. But we are probably kicking on. Ooh, not quite. I'm guessing things leveled out a little. Yeah, now we're at 3.7. If we were still above 4.1, the other nuclear plants would have kicked on. Alright, we have some belts here. Ooh, quite a few actually. Let's get that rock out of the way. Let's draw straight lines as much as possible. Again, I don't really... that's not going to work out, is that? It's not really true balancing, but it's better than nothing, I think. I mean, theoretically, it really shouldn't matter if the output of this is balanced. The plate input is balanced, and each of these is going to produce a full blue belt just as soon as I get the power to it. I'm about to run out of belts, aren't I? Okay, no, I have another stack. That won't last long. I have to remember that building at this scale, a stack of belts isn't even 10 spots long when you're building like 10 wide. Or, well, it is just 10 spots long when you're building 10 wide. How far away do I have to be? Well, further than that. Why does it still say I have 20? Okay, they're taking from the stack in my pocket instead of the one on my belt. Alright, that is hooked up. Yeah, so this is a design, or at least that is a design that I got off Factorio prints. We've got 6 gear producers, yellow assembling machines, assembling machine 3s. They're all productivity moduled up, and then they're surrounded with speed beacons, such that everyone should have 12. Well, apparently the first one only has 10. Let's hook it up. Now, I'd like to wait for day, but... Ooh, and look at those UPSs. Or, actually, please don't. And there we go. It takes a little startup, but there's the practically full blue belts of gears. And you can see it's... what's wrong with you, station? Alright, that's a little better. There we go. Yeah, apparently my blueprint is still not entirely correct. But this basically, there's 15 here. There's one that's kind of just jammed up against here, but this should still redistribute evenly from the others. And now everything's backed up because our output is now backed up. But that's years. Hopefully what should be happening is... well, these are about half filled. But that means it's going to take... technically each train fills about 200 into each chest, so it's going to take a while for this to fill up before we get trains over here. Well, we have gears. We have heavy oil. There's a... where'd it go? Train leaving. We have red circuits. We have green circuits. Isn't that nice? You'll be steel on these two, copper, iron. And then we have lubricant. Not much storage, but it more than a train's worth of storage here. And I have it 2 lanes. We can add more if we need it, but basically it's pumping out the back and the front. And right now I have one turned and coming this way because, as I mentioned, the first thing I would like to build is belts, because you can see how many we're using. So if we can make belts at 1 a second, that would go a long way towards helping out. No, I don't want that. I want to open it, yeah. Belts looks like I accidentally grabbed one of the production items for supplying lubricant. But hopefully this should work nonetheless, just not placing that. What is my production of belts right now? Looks like 136 a minute. So we're actually producing like 2 a second right now. But that could be better. Hey, thanks for bringing me belts. I wonder if... hold on, let's not get hit by this train. Okay. Alright, we got this train stopped here. That's actually good. When the other train comes in, it will unload here. So we'll at least have some iron on these belts. And then I can hopefully get everything we need over to that belt production area. So what do we need to build this? Again, a lot more belts and beacons, and I'm hoping this is a big enough offset from the bus, so that, well, one, we can get the needed materials over here without much spaghetti, and 2, potentially run an extra line of anything if we need it, but hopefully we don't. Uh, so this needs, it looks like 6 belts of gears. And while that seems like a lot, I don't think all of these are full belts. A few places I do have an indicator like this, which means, hey, we only need half a belt here and here. But a lot of them I just said I didn't really test if a whole full belt was needed. So, okay, yeah, here's our, well, here's some iron. And I'm gonna let, yeah, it's probably gonna, yeah, I mean, we didn't, the back here is not even fully, those chests are empty, 3,600. It's a bit strange, oh. I thought I had fixed, well, that's something I'm gonna have to do. I thought I had fixed this blueprint, but looks like I'm gonna have to. Yeah, that is in instead of out on those two. I was gonna say it was strange that it would run out on one side but not the other. It should be going evenly to both sides. I'm gonna let one more train come in here and then repair that. Eventually they'll even out, and like I said, eventually I'll have multiple iron trains, not just 2. I'm hoping 6 will be enough, so that 2 will be unloading, 2 will be filling up, and 2 will be either back on their way here or actually waiting here to unload. And I move this back just a bit because we're gonna need multiple belts. And let's see. Okay, that should keep this inner lane filled. And I'm actually gonna take a blueprint of that as well. Let's see how that works out. And alright, 2 more. let's stick you in that book. We want all of these to prioritize output, and this last one over here, I'll not really even things out, but just take from this line. Okay. Iron is what is needed next. And I did you all backwards. But that's somewhat easily fixed. And apparently I was off by one as well. Okay, that goes... I have checks in here, like, this goes on the inside because the belts... Like, these are placed on the outside. What's placed on... No, something else is placed on the outside. Gears are placed on the outside. So, yeah, I have all the... Making sure everything's on the right side of the belt up there. Move that back one. I said back one. And this one I'll do a little bit differently, just so theoretically, yeah, this should be taking what's the bottom side of this belt, where this should be taking the top side. Right, and then these are backwards, but that's easily fixed now. You can just press rotate on the underground belt ends. I'm not sure when that changed. Definitely you couldn't do it originally. So just hit R. Yeah, it's... Whoa. Let's keep 200, but... So this should theoretically, if this is using a full belt, this belt will get shifted over. You know, each belt will get shifted over, and so the inside will be what empties the first. All right. 3 more things to go. Yeah, actually, this guy is short, so I can skip some space. These ones fit exactly. And I'll come back to put the belts in the middle. These will be red belts, and I'll come back for the balancers afterwards, or the rebalancers. Not that I'm actually trying to balance, I'm trying to keep the one lane full. And of course I forgot to flip you guys around while I'm here, so let's do that as well. Flip you around, and then finally we need green belts, green circuits. Too many belts on the mind. Seeing how long this has been taking, I'm wondering if I really should or rock on the belt, obviously from clearing out a rock, and then belts got placed and they started pushing the rock along. I'm wondering if I should more just do construction off screen and explain how it works after the fact, because I'm not sure how interesting this actually is. Especially when I rotate. That could be very fun. Alright, just a few more. No, can't distance rotate. Didn't expect to be able to. Alrighty. Rotate. Rotate. Alright, before we finally hook it up, let's fix this train. Alright, he's good. Yeah, we got a thousand in each chest, which will hold us for a while. We already have power because there's actually power poles in the blueprint. Why are you bringing built? Oh. Okay. So this blueprint over here makes yellow belts that makes red belts, which make blue belts. The blue stuff needs lubricant, which I haven't hooked up yet. We got passive provider chests for each. I believe these just hold 150 or 100, well, 100, 200, but then this should be like I think that's 1,000 or 500. 500. You're in stacks. No, you're stacks of hundreds. It's quite a lot. It's yeah, that would be 1,000. Then over here, again, we make yellow belts to make yellow splitters, to make red splitters, to make blue splitters. And then undergrounds here as well. I'm not sure. I don't think this alone does 1 a second for the blues, and that's mostly because of just the rate of trying to get materials in. But I can put down 2 of these to hit 1 a second if they don't alone. What is... So my production of blue belts... well... It's as high as 150 a minute. So let's hook up the lubricant. Hopefully... well... I was gonna say hopefully this is fast enough, but I know how to fix it if it isn't. Let's... Yeah, I can do this. We'll be a bit over. I've never been strong on keeping videos to certain lengths. And this likely won't be as bad as some of the other videos in this recent series. Let's get rid of some plates, because I don't want my inventory to completely fill up. So we're going to put a pump here. Stop. Bad. Let's get rid of these. They were... filter inserters were just being used to indicate what needs to go where. Actually, that's fine. I forgot you down here. And there we go. I'm gonna hook up... Yes, now we have a full tank here that we can pump directly from. So even if this fills slowly, we're pumping it out fast, and this isn't going to be running all the time. So let's hook up... Yeah. Lubricant. Okay, that did drop, but all the pipes here are now filled. That should fill back up slowly. Let's get this so that I just have to run down, place one, and then we're ready to go. Alright, we're now down to 30 or 40 a minute. Let's see how this does. You can see how quickly that's finishing the belts, and then even splitters are doing well. Let's look at our production graph. $300 a minute now. So even if we're getting 150 from our main base, yeah. Splitters. And no, there's one underground belt. Red. And even blue underground belts, we're getting 64 a minute. I don't think we were producing any before. Let's hit 1 minute to get the real averages, because those were based off of 5-second intervals. And while it's saying 26 a minute, it still was ramping up, or still is ramping up. Actually, some point they're gonna... Well... yeah, the belts are completely eating the gears. A lot of these, like all of these here, I have efficiency modules because you can't make this faster. It's literally waiting for materials and getting more materials quicker would be quite a challenge, let's say. That's not entirely true. I'm gonna stick you there and help this guy out by... You're a full belt now. Oh, that's not really helping you out. Because your output is blocked. You got 54 waiting here. And your output is blocked. You're just waiting on gears. Yeah, once this fills, then this will go into high gear production. We're making about, well, you can't tell if this is just from this production, but we're doing well on belts, and we're doing more than 60, more than 1 a second, 60 a minute on even the splitters and the underground belts. So just this factory alone meets what I'd like to meet for this facility. And hey, now that we have belts and they're in the logistics system, and there's actually even coverage, that will greatly help the speed at which we can build now. Because you saw how long it was taking the bots to just place stuff. So I'm going to call that an episode. Next, I'm not sure what I'll do next. Definitely gonna need landfill at some point. And then we're gonna need all the factory materials, which are beacons, modules, inserters, and beacons, modules, inserters, and the assemblers themselves. And at that point, I think it would be safe to disconnect the logistics network, and we can then operate on our own. Because that would be basically everything we need. Pipes, but I mean, we can build pipes here as well. That's just iron. So, how are our trains doing? It looks like we're constantly out to get materials. Hopefully this will back up at some point. I mean, it will. But yeah, you can see this is going pretty good. Still need more iron here, but iron isn't. Iron is not, well, iron plates are not that they're not a problem, but the real thing here is how quickly gears are completely eaten by the belt production. But that's why we have 10 lanes of them. You can see this outer lane is being pulled, because that's actually the one we're pulling the most from, but these actually outer 2 lanes are going nice and quick. Because, yeah, they're basically dedicated. Actually, 3 lane. This stopped. We obviously hit our belt production limit, but we're still going. Yeah. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time with more Factorio all item production. See you then.